How you all doing, everybody? It's me, Crazyfrankie, and I'd like to welcome you to my Week 18 Special Edition video. This is the video that we are going to go over the current playoff scenarios and my predictions and what happens in week number 18. So for the purpose of this video, I will skip the week 17 thoughts because I looked at week 17. A lot of things were just unbelievable. Obviously, the game with the Bengals against the Broncos that really kept the Bengals' hopes alive in the playoffs. And basically, Rams winning the NFC West through various scenarios, which I will never understood that strength of victory thing or anything else for that matter. So I'm not going to go through everything that happened in week number 17 because the whole point of this video is we need to talk about week 18, the final week of the regular season. The playoffs begin a week from now. And we're starting to slowly see the playoff puzzle starting to put in place. And we still have a couple things that need to be decided going in the final week. So, this video is going to be based on whatever I say in this video, a lot of it is mostly predictions and thoughts on who gets in. Remember, if there's one thing when I do this video, is I keep I keep this rule of thumb, and that is the final week of the regular season, whether if it's week 17 when we used to have those week 17 final week before. Now it was week 8, now it's week 18, and who knows if the NFL is going to expand into a 19th week. I hope not, but the last week of the regular season is basically anything can happen in week 18. So a lot of what I have to say is basically going to be my my prediction of possible playoff berths, who's going to win which divisions that haven't been decided yet, and whatever that might be in terms of putting in the final playoff picture. So again, anything can happen in week number 18. So none of my predictions or thoughts are going to be guaranteed, because the final week is crazy. And it's hard to say how this will play out. Before we go over the playoff scenarios now, let's currently look at the current seedings in both the AFC and NFC going into the final week of the regular season. Beginning in the AFC, the Chiefs have already clinched the number 1 seed. The Buffalo Bills are now locked into the 2 seed. The Ravens currently hold the 3rd seed, and more likely whoever wins the AFC North, they will be locked into that. They'll be locked into that seed. And the Texans are locked in as the 4th seed. Currently, right now, these are the wild cards. Pittsburgh's at the 5th seed. The Chargers are currently the 6th seed. And the Broncos are still hanging on to that 7th seed. And there's only 2 teams right now that are still in the hunt. Most teams that were still in contention in week number 17, some of them lost their games. They have now been eliminated. Example, the Colts. The Miami Dolphins and the Cincinnati Bengals are the only teams left that are still in the hunt, only for the last playoff spot. Because just only the 7th seed in the AFC hasn't been decided yet. The 1 through 6 seeds basically pretty much have clinched playoff berths. The AFC North is still up for grabs. But other than that, the last playoff spot is still to be determined. In the NFC, all 7 seeds have playoff clinched already, except for the NFC South. That is still up for grabs between the Buccaneers and the Falcons. Currently, right now, this is what the NFC seedings look like. The Lions are the 1 seed. The Eagles are currently the 2nd seed. The Rams are the 3rd seed. The Buccaneers are the 4th seed. The Vikings are the 5th seed. The Commanders are the 6th seed. And the Packers currently hold the 7th seed. Now, the Eagles and the Rams pretty much have locked up the 2 and 3 seeds. But the 6th and 7th seeds haven't quite been decided yet in terms of who might go to 7, who might go to 6, and who will fall down to 7. But the interesting caveat is the 4th seed, and that is the NFC South division. Because the only other team right now that's still currently in the hunt is the Atlanta Falcons, but they can only win the NFC South. they cannot clinch a wild card berth. So that currently, whoever wins the NFC South, which either the Bucks or the Falcons, are going to be in the postseason. Alrighty now the nitty gritty here. Here are the current. Let's go over quickly the scenarios here. In one of the scenarios is the AFC North winner. Right now, the Ravens currently hold that spot. They face the Browns in Week 18. The Ravens will clinch the AFC North with a win or a tie, or if the Steelers lose or tie the Bengals. The Steelers, for them to win the AFC North, they have to win their game with the Bengals, and they gotta hope that the Ravens lose. A tie is not gonna help them. They have to lose. They have to lose to the Browns. The last playoff spot. Denver currently holds the last spot. Denver's in by beating the Chiefs or tying the Chiefs, or the Bengals lose or tie to the Steelers, plus Dolphins lose or tie to the Jets. The Dolphins, they can still get in by beating the Jets, but they also need the Broncos to lose to the Chiefs. For the Bengals to get in, of course, they have to beat the Steelers. Plus, the Broncos lose to the Chiefs, and the Dolphins lose or tie to the Jets for that last playoff spot. Alrighty. Going into the NFC. The NFC South still hasn't been decided. And currently, right now, the Bucks currently hold the lead in the division with the Falcons. And this is how it will play out. If the Buccaneers beat the Saints, they get in, or Atlanta loses or ties to the Panthers. For the Falcons to win, they have to beat the Panthers, and the Buccaneers have to lose to the Saints. Tie's not going to help them. And the only other thing that hasn't been clinched is the NFC's number 1 overall seed. It will be decided on the last game of that week, which is the Sunday night game between the Vikings and the Lions. The Lions will clinch the North and the number 1 seed by beating the Vikings. Or the Vikings will clinch the number 1 overall seed and the North Division by beating the Lions. So there you have it. Those are your current, that's your current scenarios going into that. Those are the only scenarios left in terms of what will happen in Week 18, so the playoff picture can finally be in place. Now, here are going to be my predictions for week number 18. And I'm going to start with the AFC North. Prediction number 1, the AFC North, the Ravens will beat the Browns. The Ravens are a much better team offensively, and I don't think there'll be a way. Look, this is for the division title right here, and to host the home game, the Ravens need at least one home game to advance. And the Browns are pretty beat up. This is going to be pretty obvious prediction here. So no matter what happens to Pittsburgh, whether they win or lose, they're still in the playoffs, but they'll be nothing more than a wild card. So the Ravens will win I predict the Ravens will win the AFC North. They'll beat the Browns, and that Pittsburgh Cincy game isn't going to mean anything. Prediction number 2, the AFC's last playoff spot. I predict the Broncos will get it. They know for what because there's a lot of question marks for the Chiefs, whether if Andy Reid's going to rest some of their starters, or maybe is a way to maybe let Denver win, because something tells me that the Bengals could play spoiler in the playoffs. And if there's one team they know they don't want to face, and that's Cincy, given their history, given their history in the last few seasons. But I predict that the Broncos will beat the Chiefs to get that last playoff spot, so those other games are not going to really matter. So that's pretty much it on the AFC side. Now on the NFC side, going into prediction number 3, and that is the NFC South. Prediction 3, the Bucs will beat the Panthers. The Bucs will win the NFC South. I just don't see them losing. I don't see them losing to the Saints, even though the Saints have played them very well during the... but Tampa Bay's at home. They're pretty good at home. And the Saints right now have a quarterback issue. I just don't see any way. Even if the Bucs play sloppy football, I just think they're the better team. They will beat the Saints in order to win the NFC South. So I think Atlanta will be out. And prediction number 4, it is the last playoff prediction here. The last playoff scenario prediction here in this video. And that involves the NFC's North and the number 1 seed. I'm going to gamble a little bit on this one here. I will say the Lions will beat the Vikings. Even though despite the fact that their defense is still banged up and defeated, but it's just something about this Lions team, especially at home, and especially against their divisional opponents. From this season on and from last season, they're just good at home. It'll be a shootout for sure. This game might go down to the wire, and it might be an all-time season finale classic, to be honest with you. This is the first time that for a Sunday night game in the season finale, and the fact that in the last game of the regular season, 2 teams with about 12, I should say more than at about a 13 win mark. So this is the high 2 teams that have a double-digit winning record, double-digit wins record, going out at the finale to decide not only their own division, but who will get that first round bye in the NFC conference. I think the Lions get it. They know out of any team in the NFC who needs the home field advantage more than anyone, it is the Lions, and they need home field big time. Not to have to travel on the road, especially if they have to go to say if they were to lose and they would have to and by some miracle they get through the wild card in the divisional, and then somehow they end up playing Philly, for example, in a cold climate. I think the Lions will get the number 1 overall seed, and they'll beat the Vikings to win their division and to get that number 1 overall seed. And those are my 4 predictions. There's actually only 4, because pretty much the playoff picture pretty much is almost complete. So this is going to be the final projected seedings in both the AFC and the NFC. In the AFC, this is the final projected seedings from my point of view. Of course, the Chiefs already clinched the 1 seed. Buffalo's already locked into the 2 seed. The Baltimore Ravens, by winning the AFC North, they will be locked into the 3rd seed. And the Texans are the 4th seed. They've already clinched the AFC South. Steelers will go to the 5th seed. Chargers are going to be locked in at the 6th seed. And Denver, by beating the Chiefs, basically a team with no starters, they will get in the postseason. In the NFC, this is the final seedings. The Lions will be the number 1 seed. The Eagles will be the 2 seed. The Rams will be the 3rd seed. And the Buccaneers will end up as the 4th seed. The 5th seed will go to the Vikings. The Commanders will remain at the 6th seed. And the Packers will be the 7th seed. Now let me quickly quote on this one here. The Commanders play the Cowboys, and I think they're going to beat them. The Cowboys are really, they're basically playing for pride right now, but I just think knowing Washington, the way they played against Atlanta, they're going to be extra motivated to beat the Cowboys. And the Packers, they'll easily beat the Bears, but I just think the Commanders have the edge in terms of the winning percentage, and they will be locked in as the 6th seed, and the Packers will be the 7th seed. So there you have it, everybody. That's it. It's actually not a long video as I thought it would be, because a lot of the playoff picture was already been put in place, but this is your final projected 1 through 7 seeds going into the 2024 NFL playoffs. And that's going to be it, my friends. This is the video. That's it. For every pick, please check the description below for all of my Week 17 picks. And until then, everybody, Happy New Year to every one of you. And hopefully 2025 will be very prosperous for a lot of you. And hopefully some stability. But until then, my friends, as we head into the new year, let's enjoy the 2024 NFL playoffs. I cannot wait for the playoffs to get started. So I will talk to you guys next week when I make my picks for the Super Wildcard weekend. So everybody take care. Happy New Year to everybody. Take care and enjoy the final week of the regular season.